I'm Kelly from Kelly Jones Jewellery, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this super cool Viking bracelet. Everything you'll need is in the description below, so let's get to it. To make this pendant bracelet, this is going to be what I'm going to add to my Viking bracelet that I made in my last video. But you can make it as a pendant, so you can use any shape stone you want. Mine is kind of like a teardrop, but it goes a bit heavier on this one corner. It's a bit of an odd shape, so you can really work most shapes with this design as well. Mine is 25mm by 18, so that is the wire length to this rough size. If your stone is much bigger or much smaller, then you'll need to add or take a few inches on your wires. So I'm using just a single base wire. This is 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge, and I've cut one length at 12 inches, which is 30 centimetres. I'm using 28 gauge weaving wire, which is 0.315mm, and I've wound that onto a bobbin. I've lost my end. This is a Bobby's bobbin by Beadsmith. I just wind my weaving wire onto it, and then that sits down by your side, and it just saves having when you're working with a longer length, it saves having all the wire flailing about. Tools, I've got my pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters, nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry, I just like having these handy for straightening wires and flattening and compressing weaves. Wire to the length that I have, find the centre point of that wire, position your stone centrally on the wire, and we're going to start just to the left of your stone. Take your weaving wire, wrap around that wire a couple of times. We'll go 3 times to attach. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave a little loop. Just want just a little loop in the wire, and then we're going to wrap around a couple of times. And then we want another loop in the wire. So when I've come around my loop, I'm then bringing the wire to the front. Try and get your loops roughly the same size. And then wrap around the wire a couple of times. And we're going to repeat that. And we need to do this. We need to keep repeating this for the length of your stone. And I'll explain why in just a moment. It might take a few goes to get it right and to get it neat. I've been weaving Viking knit all day. Well, I'll say that again. I've been weaving Viking knit all day, so it kind of got used to doing all the little loops and that. I need that to be the length of the stone, sort of. So this needs to go behind the stone, so it's got to go on the back of the stone. So when we get to here, when we get to the end of the stone, we're going to put a loop in the wire. You can use your own nose pliers to do this if you want to, or you can just use your fingers. Just going to put like a nice tidy loop in there. That'll come out the one end of the stone, and then carry on wrapping around with your wire. So I'm just going around the loop. So again, try and get your loops the same size. If you want to, you can use your own nose pliers. Just to get the shape right, just go around your pliers. Take your time to get the loop the right shape. And we're going to keep going until we've reached the other end of the stone. So if we put the point where the loop is, this has got to come around the stone this way. So we're going to keep going until we've reached the bottom, shape the wire around. Just the wire shape needs to be behind the stone, so you can just see the loop at the bottom and your two wires coming out the top there. So if you turn it over, on the back, I can hold it and show you. You've got the shape that comes around, and then the top wire needs to come a bit down more. I think I'm going to take a repeat off both ends of the wire. It'll all make sense in a moment. So I took a repeat off this one, and on this one I just slid them down a little bit because you can move them along. So that like outer frame is inside the stone. If it's on the edge of the stone, then your stone's going to fall straight through. It's the base wire that we're looking at, not the weaving wire. It all needs to be inside that stone shape. The top here, we need to bend the wire up. So now both wires go up next to each other. We'll just weave across the two wires. As our weave is simply 3 wraps around both wires, 3 wraps around the bottom wire. And we repeat that. So I've done 6 repeats, and we'll leave that alone and we'll come back to it later. Turning back to the front, we need to pull all these wires up now so that they come out. Because they're the base of the wraps that's going to hold the stone on. So this weaving wire that's attached to the top, I'm going to leave about 12 inches on there so we can add more to that weave. So you need to cut your wire off your bobbin. I've cut 25 inches, 25 inches, which is about 64 centimetres. We're going to attach to one of these little curls here. We'll attach the tail around. So what we're going to do is we're going to add more loops. So bring your wire across into a loop, and then we're going to attach into that one. So you need to take the end of the wire through and around that next wire. And then I'm going to wrap around again, so take the tail end through again. So you've added a little loop there. So then we're going to scoop around. We're going to add another loop next to it. So then we're going to attach into here. So pop the end of the wire into there. We're going to pull it all the way through. Shape the little scoop shape and then pop it round again, and we're going to do that all the way around. So we're making these little scoop shapes. So I've added that last scoop into there. When we get to the bottom here, if you can picture, your stone's going to sit here and this wire is going to come over the side. To get around the point, I'm going to do a scoop and then wrap around the centre, then do another scoop to attach to that top wire there. So I've added those loops all the way around. I've done those two at the front that I said, going around the big loop there. I've gone all the way around and I've come to here. So if you reposition your stone, you can now pull that weave up the sides of the stone, and you can see where your next layer is going to be. And then when you get to the end here, you just jump from one loop to the other, and then you carry on along here. So that's going to be our next round. So from here, I'm going to do a scoop. Now my next one isn't till down here, so I've got quite a gap. So I'm going to scoop two and then go around this wire and then come up and join onto here. So I've joined onto that little bit there, that wire. Then I'm going to scoop along and join back onto the beginning. I'm going to join into here where we started from, and then I'm going to carry on and do another layer. And that's all we're going to do, is going to keep adding scoops all the way around until that stone, attaching to everything now, until that stone is held firmly in place. As your repeats come over the sides of the stones, then we can reduce them so it cups the stone better. But just to the shape of the stone that you're using, just keep going around, adding rounds, adding extra layers of this scoopy scoop with all the joins. So I've joined into here and I'm in between now, so I need to come from here to do the next repeat. So I'm going to take my weaving wire back through on this side. And bring the wire up. And I've got to get to the middle, so I need to wrap around a couple of times. So when you're at the middle there, we can now scoop onto this one, and I'm doing my next row. I'll go all the way around, but you need to position your stone as you go so it grips onto the stone as you go round. So I've gone along here and I'm reaching these two bottom loops here, which is the point of the stone, So then I'm repositioning the stone and I'm pulling the sides up, and as you can see here where the two wires come up on the sides of the stone, I'm going to do a little loop there and join onto that one. If you reposition your stone, you can see whereabouts these little wraps have got to fall. So I'm going to attach that here, and then I'll carry on adding scoops all the way around to the back. So I am now just attaching and looping and scooping, and I've come around the side, and I really need to hold the stone in now, and I'm going to carry on going around the back. So I'm going to join onto that one and onto that one and onto this one, and you just got to keep going around. And if your stone is a bit bigger in places, like if you're going around another point, or my corner's a bit bigger on this side, you just need to add more scoops. And then as we get more onto the top of the stone, you'll need to decrease, so you'll have to have less loops. You're going to have to skip bits so it all tucks in and holds tight. But that's really all the direction I can give you. You just need to just keep going around and holding, cupping the stone with these little wire scoops. Keep going around and around, coming up a layer. So I'll come round here, and then I need to come up a layer. Then you add another layer going around, and another one on top of that, until you feel like the stone is held in enough. Do you know what I mean? So I've come all the way around to here, and I've stopped because the bottom there, the peak, is trapped in quite nicely, and that doesn't move whatsoever. The top, I've got a little bit of movement, not much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this wire off, and I'm going to join in up here, and I'm just going to add like half. I'm going to go half the way around the stone just to add an extra repeat around that top part, and then I'll be happy that that's secured in place. So I joined in there, and I've done this last sort of half of a round to here, and I'm going to cut the wire at both ends, and I'm happy now that the stone is held in fully. So just keep going around until your stone is held, and if you need to add any extra bits anywhere, do that. So moving on to the weave, I've actually done the weave the wrong way, so I'm going to put a note on the screen when I tell you to do the weave like earlier on. I want the 3 wraps to be along the bottom, not the top. So I've redone that weave, and I've got 8 repeats of that weave. I'm going to bend it over this way at the base, and I'm going to scoop it over that way. I should probably have more repeats because I want that loop to be quite large. I think I'm going to add some more repeats. Add more repeats until you've got 12 instead of the 8. So I've got 12 repeats on there. And I've scooped the weave around. You want it to be, I know it comes up on the one side, but you want the loop to be quite central to the top really. And then I'm going to take this inner wire, and I'm going to scoop that one around. So we've got another little loop there. So I'm going to wrap around all of the both wires 3 times, and then I'm going to wrap once around the bottom wire. If I can. That's a bit awkward. Because I want to use, I'm going to do quite a weave across these, so I want a nice long length of weaving wire. So I've gone back to my wire from the bobbin, and I'm going to cut that off. And so I've got one. I'm going to join in with the 2 repeats on the bottom wire, just 2 wraps on the bottom wire, slide it up, because that was we were working on the, we were working with the shorter length from earlier. So now the weave is going to be slightly different. I'm going to bring these wires down and around to the bottom there. But this one is going to scoop out a little bit, like further apart, like this. And then that weave, I'm going to do like a bail weave across those 2 wires. So as we've wrapped twice around the bottom wire, we now go over the top wire. Why does that keep going out of focus? That's a bit better. So I'm going to go over the top wire. Try not to pull those 2 wires together. We want to keep that nice shape. We wrap twice around the top wire. Then we come over the bottom wire and we wrap twice. So keep repeating that. Keep pushing the weaves together as you go, and try not to change the shape of those wires. You want them to stay like that, really. So please mention me, Kelly Jones Design, when you're sharing your finished work online. Please don't share images of the back or in progress, as it gives all my little design secrets away. And I would prefer people came here and watched the video than learn how to make it from your pictures. So thanks to everybody who does mention me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for not showing the back. It really does mean a lot to me. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Just keep weaving like that, and as you go around here, you just got to take care not to pull the wires together. So as you're going around this tight bend, as you can see, the wrap tends to sit like this. And we want more repeats on this and less repeats on this side, so we can get around that bend nice. What we need to do is, get past all my tools, we need to add more wraps to the top. So instead of having 2 wraps, I'm going to add 3 to start with, and then I'm going to come round with just that 1 wrap. Now we'll go round again. And then I'll do another 3 wraps on the top wire. Keep pushing it together as you go. Then I'll come under this bottom wire. I'm going to go around the bottom wire again. And then I'll come over the top wire and I'll do another 3 wraps, and that should level us up. Is that 3 or 4? But that's levelled us up either way. So now when I go around here, the wraps should be nice and straight at this angle, so we can carry on weaving now down there. So I've wove to here. We just need to weave to here, to the bottom there, to the loop, because we're going to put the wires through the loop. So I've repeated that weave until I've reached the bottom there. I'm going to cut these 2 wires up here. These 2 tail ends need cutting off. So I'm going to cut this weaving wire at the bottom here. Press that little cut end down. And I'm going to take these wires, so really pull your weave back so it's all nice and compressed together. And I'm going to take these wires through that loop there at the bottom. So as you pull the wires through, you need to reshape that weave. And bend the wires out to the side. So then when that's in place and you're happy with where the weave is, we're going to take the shorter of those two wires and just wrap it around again. So we're just securing it around that loop at the bottom there. That's Gracie snoring her head off, if you can hear her. So I'm pulling it through so it's quite tight, and that will hold that weave in place there. So then we're going to take this smaller outer wire, and I'm going to curl it around. To make just a little curl there. I'm going to suggest you use slightly longer wire. And then this one, I'm bending it this way at the base. I'm going to curl it around to go this side of that curl. And this is the longer wire. Like that. The shorter wire, so I'm going to pull this one out a little bit. The shorter wire is going to go through underneath the weave, between the weave and the pendant there. I'm going to bend it up, and I'm going to bend it around that weave. So I'm going to suggest you have a little longer wire than me and just secure it off around that weave there. So now we take this wire, we go around the weave, I'll make it sound like it's so easy to do. So we struggle around the weave the best we can. Trying not to pull this weave too far away, and trying not to squash any of that lovely weave. And then we're going to scoop it up. So I've gone around the weave and I've come this way, and then I'm going to go back through the weave. Hopefully you'll have a bit more wire to play with than me, and you can bring the other wire up to follow it too. And then that is going to come over into a little curl on the top there. But feel free with your slightly longer wire to do whatever you want with that wire. So this is going to be my bracelet piece. That's going to be for the Viking chain I made earlier. So I need jump rings to attach the chain to this loop. So we go into the actual loop here and the weave at the top. So I'll be joining one here with the jump ring and one here with the jump ring to make that bracelet finished. So now we just need a few clasps to finish it off. So I just attached this onto my main piece because I just wanted to see what it looked like. But now I need to take this jump ring off because I'm going to attach the catch onto there. So I need to attach that jump ring to that end. And then that jump ring needs to go onto the other end. So now we have a catch there. That we can attach on and off to. And that's that done. You can finish it off slightly differently if you want to. And that different way is by doing it like this. And what I've done is I've made two smaller ones and I've put the clasp in the middle. Like that. So we've still got the Viking bracelet, but it's just got a bit more movement, and the clasp is at the other end and not at this end. So there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like to oxidise yours, I did a video on oxidising and aftercare. I'll put a link in the description below. I've added a few little stones that I've hung off there. Little dangly stones and beads. And I really love how that has turned out. I think that pendant really works. With the other one, I added a little drop, a little stone there. I've done quite a few videos with how I wrap these little stones, so I'll put a link, to those in the description below. So I've dangled a few beads off there too, and I wrapped the frame wire around a larger size and just popped it on there. So I think that attached really nice. And the chain, when you oxidise the chain, that comes out really nice too. So I'm really pleased with how these came out. And I hope you do give making Viking chains a go. I haven't made any for a while, and I think it's a new addiction and I'm going to have to make quite a few. You do get occasionally like little ends will come through the end of the wire, so look out for those. You should have found them all by the time you've oxidised it, and just clip them off if you do see any. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Bye. What's this here? Is this for you? Is this for you? From your favourite auntie? Is it?